Well, good evening. The Who's today were on at Randwick. Um, there was no review last week. Uh, I went to Acapulco. Mad if you don't get there. It's not bad, um, especially when the Mardi Gras is on. Now, I didn't. There was no review last week. Last Saturday, I haven't even looked at the meeting. The meeting was on at Warwick Farm. The day before that, of course, we had the Gosford Cup meeting on the Friday, and there was a meeting during the week at Canterbury, and then we had Canterbury this week, and we had Gosford yesterday, the twilight meeting. There was nobody there, and of course Randwick today. I haven't even looked at the Gosford Cup meeting from last Friday, yesterday, week ago, or the Warwick Farm meeting last today, week ago, or the Canterbury meeting during the week. Luckily for me, there were only a few runners that went around at those meetings that were engaged today at Randwick. I can comment on the meeting at Gosford yesterday, the twilight meeting. There were no leaders that won at Gosford yesterday. There were only the 7 races. There was a very stiff northeasterly breeze blowing all day, as there was today at Randwick. But at Gosford yesterday, it could have had something to do with leaders not getting home. The track was good, the rail was normal, and the closest a leader got to winning was in the very last race, Accompany Me, which would have been a big result for the captains. It opened up around about a $9 chance, an 8-to-1 chance, got out, doubled its price, got out to $17 when they jumped. And as I say, it led and was caught on the line by the favourite, the very Wallback favourite, Viva Lisboa, to beat her by a short head right on the line. But as I say, it was the closest the leader got to winning all day. But there were plenty of runners that got through, that saved ground on the fence, and got around heels and did win. There was, I suppose, there was a runner there that was a good thing beaten during the day. Magic Jewel in race 6. It drew barrier 3. It missed the kick slightly, and then got a good suck up behind. It got going and got a run up along the fence to be behind the lead. But it was a fairly bunched field, and if it would have got a run just before the turn, it would have. It was bolting coming to the turn where the winner was actually under pressure. It would have won without a doubt. And then after not getting out on the turn, it got badly held up and checked in the straight. Everybody in the world will see it. Not that you'd want to jump on it next start, but it should have won that race. And that's about all you would say at that meeting. And then we came to the meeting today at Randwick. The track was good. The rail was 6 metres out, and similar to Randwick to Gosford yesterday, we had a northeasterly breeze blowing, and it was fairly steady for the first few races, but then it picked up during the day, and it was a very, very solid breeze. The only leader to win there all day was I Own the Lead, Gay, trained laid back Larry. It was able to, after flattening out, they started at the 2,000 metre mark. They're more or less on their turning when they jump, and it went straight to the lead, Kukuri, and ran along a little bit start of the race, but then when they had flattened out, got onto the straight course down the back of the track, Hieronymus on the winner, he let Layback Larry stride, got to the lead, and he didn't dawdle in front when he hit the bend going out of the back straight and down and around about the 800-metre mark. He let layback Larry slide, and he got a 4-length break on Black Jag, who was doing the chasing. On its outside was Hunter Jack, and come to the turn, he was fairly close to the rail, but then as he was rolling up the rise, he got to the middle of the track, which was a sensible move, and he had them beat after they topped the rise. It was fairly easy to see, and he went away, and as he did last start, he won by a big margin, won by 4.5 lengths. But as I say, it was the only leader to win. The first race here, there was a bit of a discrepancy. This was the biggest discrepancy, or there was another race, there was a good bit of percentage missing. You would have done a lot better at the track than punting anywhere else. That you cannot beat betting at the track. Bookies give the best odds available. They beat the best luck all the time. Pass the message on to your friends. Come out. The captains are more or less giving section away. Don't try and bet fixed odds with the filthy cancer of racing, the TAB. They're under every runner. Blind man can get better with the TAB bets. They're in their fixed odds. This first race, they said there was on the screen 104.7 in the marketplace, only 95%, and the winner, Breakfast in Bed. This was a big result for the captains. We put it up a 13 to 8 chance, $2.60, 13 to 8 the field, and it was $3.70 begging at the finish of betting, and it sat outside the leader, Al Celador, who couldn't lead all the way today like it did last start at Randwick. And that day at Kensington, when Al Celador did win, it won the last race there that day, and it was the only leader to win on the Kensington track that day. It couldn't do it today. It pulled and raced a little bit fiercely in the lead. The Breakfast in Bed was able to get outside it and travel sweetly to the turn, and only finish up winning by a half a length, coming from last after jumping. They said they were going to ride it a bit back, pillow talk, and they went straight back from the outside alley back into last position, a clear last after they'd gone a little way, and it was, as I say, clear last. It tacked on well before the turn, got to the outside, sailed down the outside, and was beaten a half a length. It ran third. Jacinta ran an honest race. It was tucked away behind the leader on the fence, only 0.7 of a length away, and Zarbafloat, who came having every chance from second last on the outside of Berra Miller, who missed the kick by a couple of lengths. It was only 1 length away in fourth place. The winner was an honest win. The second race, here we saw Woodbine resuming from a spell for Gay, being a bit too strong towards the end of betting, or towards the end of the race, and also tightening right up to start, clear favourite by the time when the starters said go. In this race, they said there was 107.3 on the screen. There was only 103 in the marketplace, about 4 odd less, and it went straight to the lead. The opening favourite, Atmospherical, ran into the wind. By the same token, it was gone more or less just by the time they got to the top of the rise. But it did lead on the fence, and the wind ran into the wind. The favourite, by the same token, Woodbine, was directly behind it. He couldn't get a split in between it and Dream Forward, who was on the outside of Atmospherical, and he finished up having to hook around its heels and grabbed Dream Forward, who fought on very well after sitting outside the lead, right near the post, to win by 0.3 of a length. They said the best pluck about the two favourites here was $2.70 a pair, Atmospherical and a Woodbine. We bet there was a blind man could have got $2.80 either runner at different stages of betting of the race. So there, always get to the track. The prices we bookies give at the track, we captains, are always better than you can get there betting with the filthy cancer and also these other thieves, these robots, corporate bookmakers. The bookies on track give the best odds by a long way. 280 a pair we gave, and as I say, atmospherical lead. Woodbine, after easing off the heels after topping the rise, held up slightly, getting a run, but when he got clear, he stretched out very strongly, and as I say, won by 0.3 of a length. And sitting in the 1-1 position was What About? It ran an honest race. It'll be improved. It was beaten 1.8 lengths, running third. We came to the third race. They said there was 103.7 on the screen, only 101 in the marketplace. And here we saw, towards the end of betting, towards the end of betting, Red Excitement tightened right up to start a clear-cut favourite at around about, you might have fluked getting $3.10. It was $3 most boards, even a little bit less, but you might have fluked $3.10, but it started the clear favourite, and it sat back in last position, Red Excitement, and was eased off heels coming around the turn and sailed down the outside to grab Tromso, who was extremely well, went up 25 to 1, $26, got out to 41, back into 31 taken, only started maybe $26, and its run was most probably an improved run. They said they were going to ride it closer if it jumps, and it did jump, and they took it straight to the lead, so they weren't telling any 2KYs, and it fought on extremely well, beaten only 0.4 of a length. I laid it well, and it was, there's a good chance it was a worse result for me than the eventual winner. During the betting here, well, they said for a start, well, I can see 2% straight away in the 2 or 3% difference, and that was with Under the Sun. They said the best fluck Under the Sun was $6. You could get $7 easily. There was a mile at $7. So there's 2% straight away. It went fairly ordinary. It was tucked away on the fence. It ran second last, but it will be improved. It was resuming today. As I say, Tromso was taken straight to the lead, ran a cheeky race, but after easing out to last, Red Excitement, ridden by clever Karen McAvoy, it came down the outside, grabbed it near the line to win by a 0.4 of a length, and My Destiny, who sat midfield off the fence, it was only 1.4 lengths away in third hole, but never ever going to win. It ran fourth, Mercia. We put it up, well, the two picks here were Mercia and Red Excitement. We put Red Excitement up the 2-to-1 favourite, 2-to-1 the field, and 9-to-4, $3.20 bar it, Mercia. Now Mercia got out, was always hovering around, just slowly got out till the 350, 360 mark, and towards the end of betting, a mile of 370. And the same happened with Red Excitement. We put it up the 2-to-1 favourite. It slowly got out to $3.50, but then a mile of $3.70. 11-to-4 the field we gave, and it finished up at the finish of betting. As I say, it was the one they came for in a big way. The pros, they won an absolute shitehouse for, and it started 2-to-1 favourite. It was backed at one stage, Red Excitement, from $8.50 into $7.50. Mercia, it sat back in second last position. When they were coming around the turn, the eventual winner, Red Excitement, got to its outside fairly quickly, and Mercia was ridden by James McDonald. It raced in restricted room. It wasn't badly held up. It raced in restricted room, and it lost its momentum just a couple of times. If it would have, if Red Excitement wouldn't have got to its outside as quick as it did, Mercia, it might have it was slightly held in the pocket by the winner. It might have got to the outside, and there's a good chance it got beat 2 lengths as it turned out. It might have there might have only been a half a length in. It might have been right up in the finish of the race. But as I say, the winner got to its outside. It raced in restricted room and should have finished a bit closer. And that was about the race. The winner is a very big strider, Red Excitement. But by the same token, it did take it the entire length of straight to catch Tromso. Now, then we got to the English Classic for the 2-year-olds. The runner that started favourite was the second horse, but at one stage, the runner from New Zealand, Vinnie Eagle, they put an absolute fortune on it at one stage of the race. We put them up this way: 10-9, Boomois, and $3.20, 9-4, or $3.30 actually, excuse me, Vinnie Eagle. We got it out to $2.20, $2.25 Boomois, and it was still $3.20 and $3.30 Vinnie Eagle. And then one of the pros, he let go and put an absolute poultice on Vinnie Eagle. And at one stage, it was into $2.40. When it came into $2.40, they killed you for the $3.30, $3.20, $3.10, $3, $2.90, $2.80 for whatever you want, $2.70, $60, and they took the $2.50. It was into $2.40 Vinnie Eagle, and this forced Boomois out to $2.50, and then there was a good bit of section for Boomois, and it came into as little as $2.20, got out to $2. I was $2.30 when they jumped. I think it won't be returned, those odds. And when it got into $2.20, hard to get, the runner that had touched favouritism, Vinnie Eagle, it got back out to $3. But then towards the finish, they killed you again for the $2.90. They took the 3, they took the $2.90 and the $2.80 again towards the finish of betting, and even the $2.70 was hard to get. They started $2.30 and $2.70. We had little percentage. There was 102.7 on the screen, maybe 1 or 2 less in the marketplace, about 101. Yes, and I did tell you in race 3 there was 103.7 and a couple less in that race as well. And Boomois, well, when the gates opened, the runner from New Zealand, Vinnie Eagle, he bounded in the air for a stride, but then got going quickly from the extreme outside alley. And it looked as if it was going to lead, but we're looking at the side angle, and of course it was never in front. And Boomois just scooted through and went, found the lead and the fence fairly easily. But it was running into the stiff nor'easter. When they got to the 600 metre mark, Boomois was a good 3 lengths in front of Vinnie Eagle, who was gone before the turn. The winner of this race, Boomois, did, as I say, run along. It's a fairly free-going runner, and it's got plenty of pace. And Hugh Bowman, the good postilion he is, there was no way in the world he could fight Boomois. He had to let it run along. So its effort to go down in this race only by 0.2 of a length was extremely good. The winner, Peggy Jean, well, we all saw its first start in a race, where it most probably wasn't fully wound up with this race in view. This team have won the last 3 English Classics. It sat in 6th position off the track, ridden by Clever Kerry McAvoy, it led, as I say, Boomer, Vinnie Eagle 3 lengths away. Back on the fence was Armageddon on it. On its outside was Kunachi, and there was a runner. I haven't been able to see I haven't watched the tape yet. There was a runner trapped 3 wide outside that pair, and the winner, Peggy Jean, it was tagging the run that was 3 wide, and when they turned for home, it's a fairly big striding runner, Peggy Jean, and McAvoy, he eased off their heels, eased around the run that was trapped wide, and you could see that it's easy now, of course, but when you watch the replay, the runner from New Zealand was dropping out. The favourite had got well clear, and there was only one horse who was going to get it. And I must admit, saying to myself, and I did stand Boomois, I was saying to myself, he's gone this horse has run along at a good clip and has run into the wind. And when they topped the rise, even though it had got clear, I was quietly confident that the winner was going to run it down. But by the same token, it did take it the entire length of the straight to do that, thank God, and it won by 0.2 of a length. And coming from back in the field, along the fence, having a good run, was unequivocal, but beaten 3.2 lengths. The winner and the second horse were by far the best runs. Run the race again, and the second horse, Boomois, would be a clear-cut favourite. And take away the wind, I think would get the cash, or if it drew an outside alley. Race 5, they said there was 103.3 on the screen and only 100 in the marketplace, and this was the winner, the only winner to lead all the way. Well, didn't lead, as I said before, until they flattened out in the back straight, but once it got control, it travelled sweetly for Hieronymus, and it trotted in. It got to the middle of the track. He eased it, as I said before, coming up the rise to the centre of the track, and well, you look at it, you might say that it'll most probably win again, layback Larry, but the runners behind it are fairly one-paced average stayers, so I've most probably underestimated this horse. It's most probably a better netty than I give it credit for. Race 6. Now there's a bit of difference here in the flux. They said there was 101.6 for the robots. In the grandstands. There was at best there was only about 93 in this race. These were the flux. Misty Eyes, who they said they were going to ride closer, it was just behind the pace on the fence. It went up a $13 chance, 12 to 1, got out to 15, back into about 13, but back to 15 and 16 towards the end of betting. Now the winner here, Almighty Charge, the best luck is $3.80. This was a result for the captains because we put it up a 9 to 4 chance, and at the end of betting on the fence there was plenty of $4.20 about Almighty Charge, and it was ridden perfectly by Nashville Willer, who resumed from a suspension today. Red Dynamite didn't have a price. It went from $8 out to 11 or even 12. Now Specific Choice, who was after being gelded and a let up, it opened up a $3.50 chance and got out to, you wouldn't see it. Excuse me, that pretty blue. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. What has he put in it? It got out to, you wouldn't see it, as I say, it got out to $5, a Specific Choice, but it came back in towards the end of betting. It was sensationally back. It only started $4. There was no betting when it loomed up topping the rise. New Divide, I couldn't understand the backing for New Divide. It went up $4.80, got out to, which you wouldn't see again, $5. It came in and started the $3.50 favourite. You'll never know if you never go up to the Northern Territory where all the corporates are licensed. They write their own rules, of course. Now, You'll Never, $10 out to $13, back into $9, but back out to $12. Tognetty, 100 out to $400, 401. Got some section out of it. Wine and Dine, 15 into 14, back to 15, back into about start $13. Nowhere about 93. It was very skinny, and it went straight to the lead from barrier 2, Almighty Charge. I would say Nash was a Jerry to the win. And what did he do? When it moved up when it's out on his outside after drawing barrier 8 in a field of 8, New Divide, ridden by Clever Karen, Nash, he said, no, Clever Karen, you can have the lead and you can run into the wind. And he let New Divide cross, and when he did that, he looked at him and got to his outside. When trapped 3 wide all the way was Red Dynamite, so its run was a little bit better, and getting a good suck up behind those 3 was Pacific Choice. When they turned for home, there was a line of 4. It was gone more or less turning New Divide on the inside. It was travelling fairly sweetly, Almighty Charge. It was sticking on Red Dynamite, but just ambling up was this big recently gelded Pacific Choice. Hugh Bowman, he would have been very confident, and all of a sudden the sprint was on, and that pair, Almighty Charge and Pacific Choice, dropped the others. But as I say, it did look for 2 or 3 strides because it was travelling so easy. Pacific Choice would just go, well, I'm going to go away, and there's a good chance he got ahead in front, go away and win this easily, but he couldn't. And Almighty Charge fought back very strongly to win by 0.2 of a length, and after getting a suck through the middle of them, held up a little bit. You'll Never. It was 3 lengths away in 3rd position. It was on the fence, New Divide, running into the wind. Race 7, they said there was 103.5 to make you laugh. There was about 3 less in the marketplace, about 100.5. And this race was won by Jacquinot Bay. It sat in 3rd position. The run of Jacquinot Bay at Rose Hill, that day, Jacquinot Bay, it made no ground up in the straight after sitting back in the field, but it was the way that track that day was playing at Rose Hill, and especially if the leaders did get away from the fence and got to the middle of the track, it made it so much harder for horses who were back in the field to come around them. And so it was always back 3 wide, well back in the field. So, you know, if you backed it today, you were clever. You could have easily blocked that run out of your head. It went straight to the lead. Reflectance, it drew the outside alley. It was extremely well backed. $6.50 given, started $5.50. He was looking for a spot, Jay Collette. He could see there was nowhere he could slide in. He had to let Reflectance stride. It was pulling its head off. He got to the lead, raced into the wind, and that was the end of it. It was gone, more or less turning for home. Right behind it on the fence was Wild and Proud, sitting on its outside, Jacquinot Bay. It was a bit of a funny race. We saw Panko in this race take off down the side, and it was a 100 to 1 chance, Panko. And when it took off and made this sharp move, at the 800 metre mark. By the time they'd got to the turn, it was looming up to the leaders, topping the rise, and just before the turn, getting to the leaders out wide. There's a good chance it got to the lead, Panko. It finished up running, only got beat 2 lengths. It ran a much improved race. There was another runner in this race. When you watch the replay, Exceed and Exalt, it got shuffled back on the inside from barrier 2 to be more or less in, well, it was in last position, turning for home, a clear last, losing all of its momentum coming down the side. And then when he had to ease off heels, it was back in at last, second last position, Smart Moochie, who finished up running second. It had made a run, eased off heels and was coming wide, and Exceed and Exalt had to get inside it, and the top weight Sacred Flyer, who was running in third last position, and he was held up for a couple of strides, Exceed and Exalt, and it should have finished much closer. It wasn't a bad run, but it did have a soft time, but as I say, it lost its momentum. Jack and Obey, after getting to the lead, more or less topping the rise, getting past the weakening reflectance, it did stick on extremely well. It fought all the way down the straight. The favourite here, Long Run, it was sensationally backed. We put it up the even money favourite. Evens on the field. I've got it out to $2.50, 6-4 given. You wouldn't see that. 6-4 given. They killed you for the $2.50 and the 40 and the 35 and the 30 and the 25, 225. They took the 5-4. You could lay it towards the finish at $2. They were nibbling at the even money, evening money on the field, and it's only been beaten 0.6 of a length, 0.1 by 0.6 of a length were the margins, and it lost this race at the start. When the starter said go, well, you knew Smart Moochie was going to go back, and Jay Ford, who replaced Kath O'Hara, Killer Kath that is, who's out injured after a fall yesterday at Gosford. She's fractured her hand or something, fractured one of her hands. But Kath's a tough cookie. She'll be back. The long run, it went back Smart Moochie. But when the gates opened, there was one runner, one length clear last, and that was the favourite. Now, if it doesn't miss the kick, it wouldn't have been sitting in about 6th position in between runners here. There's a good chance it would have gone up near the lead, and it could have easily been where Jack and Obey was. And there's a very good chance, well, I would say if it came out of the barriers, we'll run the race again, it still would be favourite. And if it came out of the barriers cleanly, it would most probably win this race. But Exceed and Exalt's run was very, very good. Then we came to the last race, and well, it was a good win, Party Dress, but it got into a beautiful position. It was a big result for the captains, although the best luck about this last winner, Party Dress, is $26, 25 to 1 chance, but there was $40 given on the fence, and I saw it was $30 when they jumped, but they took the $40, and I think you could also lay it at the $30 as well. It got into a good position. They said there was 107.3 on the screen. There was only 100 in the marketplace. Another race where there was a big discrepancy. These were the flux very quickly. Harara went from 25 out to 60. Mount Nebo, 13 out to 16, back into about 12 or 11. Pitt Street, number 4, it went from $26 out to 31. Agent, 6 into 5, back out to 5.50. Ernest, who was looking for a run all the way down the straight, with a little bit of luck, it might have won. It was $13, a 12 to 1 chance out to 17, back into 13. Turf Hero was 30 out to 60. Yingla was 30 out to 50. Now, you wouldn't see it. This favourite, this Avery Charge Account, who we all thought would be up near the lead, it settled back in third last position in between runners. As much as $3, 2 to 1 was given in the outside ring. It started $2.60. We put it up a 6 to 4 chance, got out to $3, plenty of 280, but as I say, only started 260. Then we had Party Dress, as I say, there was $41 given, started 30. Shivachi, $10 out to 13. Sari, $8 out to $10 given, back into $9. And the bottom one, you wouldn't see it well, the Impact, 13 out to 16, back into about 13, only about 100. It went straight to the lead, Harara, with Miss C. Nutman aboard, bobbing up and down, went straight to the lead, ran into the wind, and got beat 0.8 of a length. It fought on very well. It's a mudlark, Harara. So its run, its effort has been very, very good. It sat on its outside, Mount Nebo. Tucked away on the fence was Turf Hero. Outside it, Ying La, who they said they were going to ride back, but it sat up handy. Trapped wide all the way in 5th position was Sari, ridden by Clever Karen. Back on the fence you had Pitt Street, on its outside Agent, and then on the outside of Agent, getting the 3 wide cart up on the back of Sari was the winner, Party Dress. It turned out the way the race was run. It got into an absolute perfect position. Back on the fence behind them was Ernest, who hasn't got out yet, and it's only been beaten. Well, the first, there were, how many runners in this race were there? 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 12 runners, and the first 10 runners, there was only 2.4 lengths between them. As I say, back on the fence, Ernest from an inside alley, never got clear running. Back on the fence behind it, another runner who never got clear running. When you see its run, it was a very good run. But it's that sort of horse, that's Savachi. It settled down a clear last on the fence. It lost all of its momentum. Well, it didn't lose its momentum. When they turned for home, he eased off heels, looking for a split. There was no run there. It was held up for a good half furlong, and when he got the split, he found the line very strongly, as it always does. Back on outside Ernest was the favourite charge account, and in the 3 wide line was Worldly Impact from the extreme outside alley. It finished up sailing down the outside, running third in a blanket finish, as I say. What about the form of this race? I'm starting to doubt it, because they're all bunched at the finish, and Harara, the 60 to 1 chance, has only been beaten 0.8 of a length. Run this race again, you would get a lot of different results. That was about the meeting. When I do the review next week, I'll make a few comments about meetings the meeting at Warwick Farm, also the meeting at Canterbury, and I might be able to say a few words about something that took place at the Gosford Cup meeting yesterday, week ago. If you are wire netting, I hope you finished on the right side of the ledger. I would say today that most captains did beat the Grumble and Grunters. Good evening.